Good morning, children. So today I am going to start the same lesson, the enemy. So let's continue. In the last class, we have seen that the general promised Sadav that he would send his private assassins to kill the enemy. But 2 nights passed, the assassins didn't come to kill the enemy. And Sadav couldn't sleep these 2 nights. He was always afraid, in stress, in tension, all the time, whole night. He thought as if the assassins had come. They were killing the enemy. They were dragging the dead body outside. But when the morning he went, he found the enemy was already there. At last, the third night came. He was very much hopeful that the war could be over that night. That was a rainy night. They heard some sound of crash. Hana also awoke. Their baby also awoke. The baby started crying. Hana wanted to go to the enemy's room and see what happened. But Sadav didn't allow Hana to go. Hana could read the face of Sadav, that Sadav was in stress, fear. Hana was also afraid, and the both came back to their bed and they slept with their baby between them. Now let's see. Yet when he opened the door of the guest room in the morning, there was the young man. He was very gay and had already washed and was now on his feet. He had asked for a razor yesterday and had shaved himself, and today there was a faint color in his cheeks. "I am well," he said joyously. But in the morning, when Sadav went to his room, then he found that the enemy was healthier and happier. The enemy was looking fresh as he had washed himself. One day before he had asked razor and he had shaved himself also. As he was getting recovered, so light color had come on his cheeks, and he told Sadav that now he was quite well. Sadav drew his kimono around his weary body. He could not. He decided suddenly go through another night. It was not that he cared for the young man's life. No, simply it was not worth the strain. So seeing him alive, Sadav was so surprised, so astonished. But now he decided, he came to the conclusion that anyway he would have to do something to get rid of this man. He would have to do something with this man, because 3 nights he had passed sleeplessly, in a stress, but now he could not tolerate any night more. So he came to the conclusion that now he will have to do something. "You are well," Sadav agreed. He lowered his voice. "You are so well that I think if I put my boat on the shore tonight with food and extra clothing in it, you might be able to row to that little island not far from the coast. It is so near the coast that it has not been worth fortifying. Nobody lives on it because in a storm it is submerged. But this is not the season of a storm. he could live there until he saw a Korean fishing boat pass by. They passed quite near the island because the water is many fathoms deep there. Then Sada told the enemy that I think now you are alright, and I think that you are so well that at least you can row the boat. Row means children here, row means to move the boat with the help of oars. To sail the boat with the help of oars. Sada told that at least you are so well that you yourself can sail the boat and go to this island which is very close to this beach. And on reaching there, you will live on that island till you see any Korean fishing boat. And Sada also told that he would keep some food, clothing, etc. in that boat. And he told about the island that the island was deserted, no one lived there because the island was submerged, island already was covered with water when the storm came. But he assured him, Sada, that now the storm would not come because it was not the season of storm. So Sada told that I think you should leave this place tonight. The young man stared at him, slowly comprehending. Do I have to? He asked. I think so, Sada said gently. You understand? It is not hidden that you are here. Actually, the enemy, the young man, found himself comfortable in Sada's house. He found himself safe there. He didn't think that he could be caught from his house, could be arrested from his house. So when Sada told him to leave the place, then he asked Sada that if he would have to do it. Then Sada told, yes, certainly, you will have to do. You will have to leave my house because I am already in danger. Because due to you, I feel inconvenient. Due to you, we are facing trouble in our house. It is very inconvenient for us to tolerate you anymore. So anyway, you will have to now go from here. Sada told this to the enemy. The young man nodded in perfect comprehension. Okay, he said simply. Sada did not see him again until evening. As soon as it was dark, he had dragged the stout boat down to the shore, and in it he put food and bottled water that he had bought secretly during the day, as well as 2 quilts he had bought at a pawn shop. The boat he tied to a post in the water, for the tide was high, there was no moon, and he walked without a flashlight. Then the enemy nodded his head. He shook his head in the positive. Sada left his room and he didn't meet the enemy till the evening, till it was dark. After sunset, Sada arranged the boat. He dragged the boat, one stout boat, one strong boat, to the shore, and he tied the boat with a pillar because the tide was very powerful, the wave was very powerful, so the boat could be sailed away. That's why the boat was tied to the pillar. And then he put food and bottled water in the boat which he had bought secretly from the market, and put 2 quilts also which he had arranged from the pawn shop. Children, pawn means to borrow in exchange for something valuable. So he had arranged 2 quilts from the pawn shop and he put these two quilts also in the boat. So this way he arranged the boat. And after that he came back to his house. And he did everything without any light. And you should know that it was not a moonlit night also. Everywhere it was darkness. Why did he do this? So that he couldn't be seen by anybody doing this, helping the enemy in escaping. Now let's see. When he came to the house, he entered as though he was just back from his work, and so Hannah knew nothing. Yumi was here today, she said as she served his supper. Though she was so modern, still she did not eat with him. Yumi cried over the baby. She went on with a sigh. She missed him so. And when he came back to his house, he was posing, he was pretending as if he was coming back from his work, so that Hannah could not guess. Hannah could not understand. Then Hannah served supper for him. Supper means, children, what difference between supper and dinner? Although the both are synonyms. The both have almost same meaning. The both refer to the meal of evening. But dinner is more formal than supper. And in British English, supper also means light meal, snack, to be eaten in the late evening. So what did Hannah do? Hannah served supper for him, and while serving supper, Hannah told about Yumi. Hannah told that Yumi, who was Yumi? Their maid servant. Hannah told that Yumi had come and she was crying much. She was crying for the baby. She missed baby. And children, although Hannah was very modern, but she didn't take food with Sada. She took her food only after Sada finished his food. The servants will come back as soon as the foreigner is gone, Sada said. Then Sada, to console Hannah, told, okay, no matter, as soon as the prisoner will go from here, then our servants will come back. He went into the guest room that night before he went to bed himself and checked carefully the American's temperature, the state of the wound, and his heart and pulse. The pulse was irregular, but that was perhaps because of excitement. The young man's pale lips were pressed together and his eyes burned. Only the scars on his neck were red. After supper, he didn't go to bed. He went directly into the enemy's room and he took his temperature, he felt his pulse, he felt his heartbeat, he saw his scars. Everything was almost normal. Only his scars were still red, but not so serious. Means now he was in such a condition that he could leave the place alone. I realized you are saving my life again, he told Sada. Not at all, Sada said. It is only inconvenient to have you here any longer. Then the enemy told that I am grateful to you. I am greatly obliged to you that earlier also you saved my life, and once again you are going to save my life, helping me to escape. But Sada made it clear. Sada told, no, you don't think so. I am not saving you. Actually, to allow you to live in our house is inconvenient for us. It's troublesome for us. We are always in fear and stress. That's why I am helping you to escape. He had hesitated a good deal about giving the man a flashlight, but he had decided to give it to him. After all, it was a small one, his own, which he used at night when he was old. Not only this, he gave the enemy his own flashlight, although he didn't want to give it. he had only this light, and with this flat light sometimes he had to go in the night whenever call came to him. But anyway, he gave this light to the enemy. If your food runs out before you catch a boat, he said, signal me 2 flashes at the same instant. The sun drops over the horizon. Do not signal in darkness, or it will be seen. If you are alright, but still there, signal me once. You will find fresh fish easy to catch, but you must eat them raw. A fire would be seen. Okay, the young man did. Then he gave him some pieces of advice. He told him that in case your food will be finished, but you have not escaped, you are still on the island, then you will give me signal of 2 flashes from the light. And in case you are arrived there, your food is also with you, but still you have not left the place, not left the island, then you will give me the signal of 1 flash. And he also suggested that if you are feeling hungry, you have no food, then you can catch fresh fish from the sea and you can eat. But mind it, you have not to make fire. You will eat raw fish. Okay, the young man breathed. He was dressed now in the Japanese clothes which Sada had given him, and at the last moment Sada wrapped a black cloth about his blonde head. Now, Sada said. The young American, without a word, shook Sada's hand warmly and then walked quite well across the floor and down the step into the darkness of the garden. Once, twice, Sada saw his light flash to find his way, but that would not be suspected. He waited until from the shore there was one more flash. Then he closed the partition. That night he slept. At last the enemy was ready to go. He was prepared. He was well prepared. He had put on Japanese dress. That dress was given to him by Sada. And Sada had also wrapped his blonde head with the black cloth. Why? Because his blonde head would shine in the darkness and he might be caught. And then Sada told, okay, now the enemy understood that now it was time to depart, to go away. So before going away, the enemy, being obliged, being grateful to Sada, he shook his hand warmly, enthusiastically, gladly, and then he climbed down the steps, went into the garden, and on his way, while he was going, then Sada saw once or twice flashlight, and then Sada waited till he went to the shore. When he saw one more light from the shore, then he was sure that now he had sat in the boat. Then Sada came inside and closed his partition. You say the man escaped? The general asked faintly.